In this video, we're going to show you how to use TCP Global's acrylic enamel. Now this is a single stage paint, which means you do not need any kind of clear coat. Alright, now we're going to be painting the hood from a 2003 Ford Explorer. Now you're going to have to get the paint code first so you can get the right kind of paint. Now this one happens to be Aspen green. So here we have it here, a 2002 to 2008 Ford Aspen green. Again, this is an acrylic enamel. Now you can't just paint this right out of the can. It's just not going to work. What you're going to need to use is a hardener to go with it. And bam, here we have it, the hardener. You want to use AE 3001 enamel wet look hardener. Now TCP Global made this very simple for you guys as far as color wise. You see now, see the yellow on these? That's all you have to do is match it up. Now there is other different hardeners and other different paints like urethane enamel that has a different color band on it, so you can't mix the two. These two go together. Alright, now putting that aside, what you're going to need to do is get you some sandpaper. I have 2 boxes of here. Now, depending on the person, there's no specific way of doing this. A lot of people use 4 or 5 different sandpapers before they get down to the wet sanding. I'm just going to do this a DIY, and we're just going to use 3. We're going to use a 120 grit, a 320 grit. Now with sandpaper, the lower the grit, the more rougher it is. So we're going to go 120, 320. Let me make sure I got this right now. No, actually, this is the 120 right here. Let's turn that around. 120. And we got the 320. Now, if you want to do a nice job on this thing, what you want to do is use you an orbital sander. And you want to get these sandpaper that's what's considered a hook and loop. So it just comes off like that. That's how these are. And you just match up line the holes up. And it'll stick right back into place. Alright, so let's get all this stuff on the hood, off the hood, and get ready to prepare our hood. Now, in order for your paint job to come out good, it is very important to prepare your surface as smooth as possible. You can tell this is really kind of rough. Now, you don't have to sand it down to metal. You can just get it down to as smooth as possible. Because I want you, let me, you know what, let me get holes here. And we're going to do a little something over here. Paint is like water. The smoother the surface, the better it's going to flow and look. It's going to look like that, whatever. Nice smooth surface. The more imperfections you have in the paint, the more imperfections are going to come through that. More imperfections you have in the part that you're painting, the more imperfections are going to come through the paint. So you want to get this as smooth as possible. Now, if you're doing this on your own, a DIY project like I'm about to show you, you really ain't got to go all crazy with this stuff, because believe me, it takes us a long procedure. So I put that to the side, get that dried off. I got my orbital sander, and I got my 120 hooked up, and we're gonna go ahead and sand this down the entire hood. Now, before I start sanding, if you notice, you're going to see a different color green right here that somebody spray painted, and then here's the original color of green over here. The customer had their neighbor said, hey, I could do it for you. So they got some spray paint, and they started spraying it. yeah. So that ain't the way to do it. So let's get ready to sand this down with our first level of 120. There we have it. Look at her. Already that hood looks good. Yeah, boy. Oh my goodness. Now, sometimes you might get a rust spot or somewhere, like you see right here. It was a little rust, and you got to make sure you sand that down to metal, because if you don't, that rust is going to come right back out of that paint. All right, now this was 120 grit. Now what we're going to do next is take an air blower and blow all this dust off, and then we're going to sand it down to the 120. 320. All right, now we're going to take off our 120 and hook on our 320. Now these holes that you see in there, what this does is it sucks up the paint dust and brings it into this little bag right here. All right, now this one's going to be a lot easier because we took out the main scratches on. So let's go over this with the 320. Get this done. Now you remember I told you this panel has to be as smooth as possible. Let me show you an example what the sandpaper does. Now if you look right here, see how it's like a lot of scratches in that? That's the 120. Now over here is where I did the 320. Look how smoother that looks. Now I'm going to do this little section right here and bring it over, and you're going to see the difference. And actually that shows you that it's taking out all the scratches. Now if you put your hand across, you'll be like, wow, that's smooth. But it actually is not. Just that quick. Look how nice that is. Look how smooth that is. Taking those scratches right out. Alright, let me get back to work and do the rest of this hood. Look at that hood. That is coming out great, man. Oh my goodness, that is so smooth. Alright, and you can see I get all this dust over here. So we're going to get all this dust off, and then the final sanding called wet sanding. We'll show you what that means in a few minutes. Alright, now what we're going to be doing now is wet sanding. Now this, you're going to have some sandpaper that's actually going to say waterproof on it. You can't use the same sandpaper you used just now. And this is a 800 grit, just to know how thin this is. I mean, this is, you can feel the roughness on it, but it's very, very smooth. So what I did was cut a piece in half and then fold it into 3, and that way I don't like usually using, you don't want to definitely use a machine, especially of course with water. Now let's go over some, let's try something out here. Now we take this water and put it up here, and the water will flow like that. You can still see the kind of imperfection in it. So what wet sanding does is wet the sandpaper, and you're just going over the vehicle like you're washing it. Look at the difference of the color, and you can tell the water builds up over here, but look how it flows nice and even over here. And actually, look at that shine. That's what clear coat does. So the paint, you need that paint to flow just like that. So I know now when I paint this hood, it's gonna flow just like that and look good. And you see, I didn't use a lot of pressure on this. You definitely want to use a lot of pressure on it because you're gonna sand down spots you don't even have to. So we're gonna go over the whole hood, keep it on low, move the water away a little bit, come back, and just keep on doing the entire hood. At that, if this was clear coat, this is exactly how this hood would look right now. Look at that, man. That is great. So now when I take water on, put water on it, the water just flows. And it goes away, and you got that nice reflective surface. This is going to look great. All right, the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure this is dry. Either you want to air dry it, leave it for about a day or two. You want to make sure it's dry. You want to make sure we're inside or under a carport, so it cuts down on the amount of bugs we're going to have in it. Because outside you're going to get something in there. And so what I'm going to do is take the air blower, and we're going to blow this dry, and we still may wait another day for it to completely dry. Okay, Sylvia just pointed out that it did look like it flowed right over here. So we're going to put a little water. And where do you see it?
Maybe it was the way it was drying then.
But even if you're not sure, because I did see a little opening right here.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is just go ahead, and especially it's easier to miss a corner like this. Wet sand it and go over it. Alright, let's get this hood dry. Alright, the hood is dry. Look at the difference of that hood compared to what it was when it's wet. That's what clear coat would be. Now this, if I was doing a two-stage system, this would be the actual color right now of the base coat, and then you put the clear coat on top of it, which gives it that shine. And to give you an example is the water. Man, this is smooth. That paint is going to look really nice. So the next thing I'm going to do off camera, I'm going to go over here. We're going to prime this area over here, get some primer on it, and I'm going to sand it very lightly to make sure it blends in with the rest of the hood. And then we're going to get ready to shoot it. Alright guys, we just put down the first layer of paint. Now if you notice, it don't look that good. Don't look pretty. It's not meant to look pretty. This is just a sticky coat. This is just it sticks to the body, to the panel, and then it's going to stick to it makes the next coats I put on a lot better. So let me go get the gun, and we're going to go ahead with the second coat. Alright, now the next coat I'm going to put on is going to be a wet coat. It's going to be thicker. It's going to make the paint more pronounced. So let's get right to it. And make sure you have a mask on. Don't be putting this on. Don't be doing this without no mask on. Mask on. Oh man, look at that, guys. That is coming out great. Oh my goodness. It looks like it actually got clear coat on it. Alright, that's the wet coat on it. Now I'm going to do one final pass. Usually you can a lot of times you can do just the second coat and it'd be good. But nah, we're going to make sure this is good. So go ahead, hook it up. And going to do one final pass. Oh my goodness, guys, look at that. Look at that. And you can see my fingers in there. That's like a mirror reflection. Now, of course, single stage paint, you're not going to get that great mirror look like a clear coat system, two-stage system, because it's just not meant to be, just not meant to look like that. And as you can see, now I'm under a shade, of course, so the shade is not really showing the gloss of it. But if I put my hand, look, if you put my hand right there, you can see a good image of my hand. It does not look all distorted. Like it's a pretty good image. I mean, that actually is a great image for a single coat system. So there you go. That is that Ford Aspen green. That's the green single stage TCP global paint system. Take care, everybody.